That's really good. I don't.
You wanna have your seat? We'll call the meeting to order.
Thank you.
All right, please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I didn't have to wait at Starbucks for an hour.
Starbucks line wasn't that bad. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. All right. First on our agenda, we have a public hearing. This is continued from the last meeting. Solicitor, do we need a motion to open it, or is it just the public
Yes,
hearing
please.
still open? All right, can we have a motion to open our public hearing? So moved.
That's a second.
We got our motion, our second. We'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Our public hearing is open. We have new data in our packets. Do we have any questions from council before we go to the public? All right, seeing none, do we have anybody from the public who has anything they'd like to share? This is regarding the changes to the transfer station, tipping fees, hours. All right, anybody online, Kendra? Nope. All right, take a motion to close our public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All right, go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. All right, do we have a motion for an action on this item?
Did we,
Sure, go ahead, Mark.
and I haven't looked through it. Looking now. I found it, forget it.
All right, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adopt the chapter 18.818 recycling and solid waste disposal with one amendment. The transfer station, so section 18.18.030. B, the transfer station shall be open Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday from 8 AM to 4 PM. And during daylight savings time, open Wednesday, 8 AM to 6 PM. Transfer station shall be closed on legal holidays.
Second.
So we have our motion and our second. Aaron, sure, go ahead.
Effective February 1.
Hold on.
That was the.
And then we'll need a second one with the fees.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so yeah, effective February 1st.
Yes, sorry, I missed that in your report.
Any other questions or discussion?
Thanks for pulling that data together. Put it in there.
Yeah. All right, then we'll go for our roll call
Hold
vote.
on, just to be clear, in the motion I made, there is one amendment that I made to what's been submitted for on a kind of a trial period for this coming year. For Wednesday, we're gonna keep the transfer station open till 6 PM during daylight savings time, which allows for at least an hour after closing for our staff to close up. But it does extend the time for at least 2 hours for residents to use the transfer station after working hours. That was one of the requests from some residents when we were campaigning. They talked about having transportation open later so they could get to it later in the day, especially during the work week. And after talking to Erin and Gary through email, we thought that this would be a good time to trial it. And if we find that there's not really a lot of usage, we can come back and revise the ordinance later.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that clarification. I think it's a good thing to give it a shot and see if it's worthwhile to continue. Oh, sure, go ahead, Mark.
Will that implicate overtime at all? Those extra hours?
No, based on the hour staffing schedule will just shift. There might be an additional allowed for whatever staff, but we'll just reschedule based on staffing, because now we're reducing Tuesday. Monday is for haulers, so that individual who would just work a shorter day on that Monday, but we'd have to change the schedule currently, so it wouldn't draw overtime.
Okay, Jeff.
Is that so? Is it still gonna be an 8 hour day, or is it from 7 to 6? 7:30, what time do they
So
open?
the transfer station opens at 8
8
to 4, so it would just extend that one Wednesday till 6
8 to 6.
versus, the
Yeah,
Tuesday, so.
okay.
All right. You nobody else? Yeah, you got something to add, Mark?
Well, I just want to make sure I'm not, is DPW in favor of this change?
I think, so they did vet the request, and they're willing to try it out on a trial basis. There was, West Greenwich did extend their hours at some point, and then they reduced it. And so based on staffing and changing the hours, that they're open to the change. They certainly weren't opposed to it, but they were open to that suggestion
On the extension,
on the extension.
as far as closing that one day?
Yes, that
Okay.
is something.
All right, no, I agree. I think we should, revisit that, at least have a check-in. Once we get to daylight savings time after a few months, and see if we're getting usage. If we're not getting usage.
Yeah.
Or if you're getting the same number of people spread out over a longer period of time. Doesn't make sense, so, okay.
Right.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without daylight savings because we don't have the lighting
Right.
infrastructure there. That would be a huge.
Okay.
All right. We'll go for our roll call vote then. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes,
and myself, yes. All right, we need another motion for the you want to?
No, I was just
Go for it.
confirming that
okay.
we've actually, that was stated.
I'll make a motion then to approve the transfer station, I think P's portion. I don't have this specific one in front of me because it's all together, the agenda.
so I guess motion to approve amendments to ordinance section 18.18.070 tipping fees.
Mark, is it 8.18?
That's what I have on my,
Not 18.18.
unless it got cut off on the photocopy.
8.8.
8.18?
8.8.
All right, so I'll second it. Any council discussion on the fee
This is all-
questions?
Is this
Yep.
all of 8.18? So that covers 18.40.
This is
Well.
70 for,
Oh, and 8.18.40, right, adding.
All right, so I'm seeing no council discussion on that, so we'll go for a roll call. Sure, go ahead, Aaron.
also effective February 1st. Thank you.
Will you?
Yeah,
Friendly amendment to add this to your
effective
motion.
February 1st, 2026.
All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. All right, on to new hires. We have discussion and consideration of appointment of Kendra, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to actually pronounce your last name. Tangway, thank you. As acting town clerk. We have a motion to approve?
The motion to approve the appointment of Kendra Tangway as the acting town clerk. Do I need to include the monetary piece in that motion?
You certainly can.
All right, so it was at the prorated salary of 75,000 for the duration of her service as acting. And that duration was how long, Erin?
Until it's filled.
Not back when.
Oh,
she
it will
was-
be just backlog tomorrow, just to align with the
Okay.
payroll period.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll
Second.
second. Any council questions? All right, we'll go for a vote. Yep, sure.
Just a comment that, this past period of, Erin being interim town administrator as clerk and Kendra functioning as assistant clerk, taking on extra duties. I think it's just, I want to publicly recognize the amazing work that she did. And obviously this is an interim position, and I would expect and hope that someone in this room by the name of Kendra would be considering perhaps applying for a future position. So thank you for all the work that you did. It was above and beyond.
No pressure. All right, with that, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right. Discussion and consideration of hiring Richard Hopkin as a part-time finance clerk. I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
All right, any council discussion or questions? Yes, sure, go ahead. Mike.
You mentioned his background in the memo, Erin, but you didn't really give any information as to what that was. So can you give us a little more detail on that?
Sure.
Professional experience.
Yep, so he worked for the state of Connecticut in labor and training for several years, most recently before retiring. Wants to go back into the workforce, and then previous to that had extensive retail management in different restaurant entities, and so collection of fees, but most recently with the state of Connecticut in the Office of Employment. So he has much familiarity of working with the public, and has a great personality dealing in difficult situations, and sometimes tax payments are not always ideal because nobody loves to pay them. And so he professionally has a very well-rounded resume that would fit.
Great, thank you.
All right, then we'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Welcome to the party. I'm assuming so by the name. Discussion and consideration of hiring Lori Lyford as a part-time finance clerk.
And motion to hire Lori Lyford as part-time finance clerk.
Second.
Any council discussion or questions here?
Can you do the same for her, Erin? please?
Sure. So this position is going to have a more focus on accounts payables and receivables. She had a private sector business dealing with a large automobile dealership that primarily her focus was in accounts payables and receivables. So we do believe it will be a very good transition into this position.
Great, thanks.
All right, we'll go for our roll call vote then. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. And he's here as well.
Okay.
Thank you, welcome. It's like looking around, like, who we got here?
No need to stay. Okay.
Yeah. Now we have some appointments and resignations. First is discussion consideration of request from Mark Trimmer for appointment to the Char Hope Finance Committee with a term expiring February 2027.
Yeah, motion to appoint Mark Trimmer to the Charter Finance Committee with term expiring February 2027.
Second.
Perfect. Mark is here. Thank you for stepping up. This position's been vacant for some time. They have an upcoming meeting. You know, if you're able to come to it, it's January 21st at 6 p.m.
Okay, yeah,
Before the omnibus.
Right before the omnibus.
nice. Okay.
Good. All right. Any other council questions or comments? All right, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark.
Morning.
Thank you.
The meeting or?
Yeah, it's more, you have to come back to be sworn in.
Do I?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I miss everybody anyway.
Yeah, it's good.
Welcome to stay to the bitter end.
All right, a couple more appointments and resignations posted to our town solicitors, both of the term expiring January 31st, 2027. We have Attorney Christopher Zangari and Attorney Michael Coslino.
And motion to renew the appointment for town solicitor with term expiring January 31st, 2027 of Christopher Zangard.
Second.
Any council discussion or questions? All right, glad to see you're getting reappointed. Thank you.
Glad to be. Thank you.
We'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madden,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. All right. I'll make a
Oh,
motion.
go ahead.
I'll make a motion to appoint Michael Cozzolino as our town solicitor with the term expiring January 31st, 2027.
Second.
Any other council discussion? All right. Thank you for stepping up and getting reappointed.
Appreciate the time.
Continuing.
Oh, we still got to vote. Go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore, Madden,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. All right, you're excused.
That's a can-win attitude there. I like that.
All right, appointment, discussion and consideration of request from Christopher Serpa. Sorry if I butchered that. For an appointment to the planning board with the term expiring January 31st, 2029.
Yeah, motion to appoint Chris Serpa to the planning board with term expiring January 31st, 2029.
Second.
All right, and is Chris here? Yes. Thank you for stepping up to the planning board. Anybody have any questions for our applicant?
Yeah, did we pronounce your last name correctly?
The B is silent, so it's Serapa.
Serapa.
My apologies.
That's all right.
Thank you. All right, we'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
and
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Welcome to the party.
Thanks.
Right.
All right, discussion and consideration of appointment of Joseph Taramina. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that, you can correct me. To the Rich Task Force as a representative of the Economic Development Commission for a term ending December 31st, 2027.
Motion to approve the appointment of Joseph Termina to the Rich Task Force as a representative from the Economic Development Commission for term ending December 31st, 2027.
Second.
All right, any questions or concerns for this applicant?
Just really happy to have him on board. He's
Definitely.
already stepped up and is really engaged, so.
Great. We'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madden.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, for our appointment to the finance board, we received an email that Barry Parker is not as available as he thought he'd be for this. So we have Jeffrey Sparvin.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Jeffrey Sparvin to the finance board with a term expiring November 30th, 2030.
Second.
Any questions for this applicant?
I just
Yes.
want to thank Jeff for stepping up. He approached me about becoming more involved in town, and with his business background, I thought this was a great fit for him to get involved and help us out on the finance board. So thanks for applying.
Thank you. Thank you for making that connection too. We'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Welcome to the party.
Congratulations.
All right, one more discussion and consideration of a request from Matthew Fortin for appointment to the zoning board of review with a term expiring July 31st, 2030.
Motion to appoint Matthew Forden to the zoning board of review with term expiring July 31st, 2030.
Second.
All right. You must be Matthew in the back. All right. Any questions for this applicant or concern? All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Welcome.
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 Thank you, everybody, for stepping up.
Got
No, a lot of, yeah.
engaged people in.
And there's more vacancies out there. On to our consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they'd like to pull? Sure.
I need to pull 1A so I can abstain.
Okay.
And 1B, so I can abstain.
Any others?
Um,
All
I
right.
think
So I'll-
I think it was November 4th. Yeah, E.
an
please.
E. All right.
Is that D and D? Both November 4th.
A, B, E. And do you need D as well?
Were you here for both?
No, I was here, but because the November 4th, at 4 PM, that I believe was the approval for the municipal court, correct, John? And I was here for the 6 PM meeting, so just, I apologize, just D, I misspoke,
Okay.
just D, not E.
Just D, not E. All right. So I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda item 1A.
Second.
All right. We'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Abstain.
And myself, yes. I'll make a motion to appoint consent agenda item 1B.
Second.
Thank you. Sorry, I couldn't remember who's leaving what. Let's go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Abstain.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Motion to approve consent agenda item 1D.
Second.
C? C.
No, she's pulling D.
Okay.
You wanted D because it was the 4 p.m.
Oh, you're just doing the polls. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I got my motion and my second. We'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor,
Yeah.
you weren't here either, so you can abstain.
Abstain.
Dinsmore. Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Abstain.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, so we'll get all the rest here by a motion to approve consent agenda item 1, C, E, F, G, H, and I.
Second.
Go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Awesome. On to public forum. The purpose of public forum is to give members of the public an opportunity to address the town council about items not on the agenda. We ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. You'll have one opportunity to address the council in public forum. This is out of courtesy to others who wish to speak to ensure we have equal time for all. There'll be a timer that'll go off when your 3 minutes are up, so you know to finish. If you need more time, we welcome you to submit your comments in writing to the town clerk to be included as a part of the record in the communications section of the agenda. All comments should be directed to the president and not any other person present. So with that, do we have anybody for our public forum? Or anybody online? All right. On to reports. Kick it off with our town administrator.
So, good evening, everybody. So my first item is just an informational item. I think the public and council alike wanted a more transparent budget process, and we're trying to streamline how we present the budget and those dates to the public. And so attached to the agenda is just basically a public service announcement about the budget timeline that includes the Charahoe Regional District budget. Many new residents of the town don't always realize that we have a 2-part budget here in Richmond, and the school portion is controlled by the Charahoe School Committee as it's regionalized. And then that is adopted and voted on first, and then we have the town process. So this is just basically an outline after the approved dates of the school committee and the town council did last month, as well as the proposed dates of when the finance committee is going to meet to approve the budget, so the public can save on their calendar some very important dates to be involved in the budget process.
Thank you so much for putting it together. Any council questions on the process or comments? All right, thank you.
Looks good, thanks.
Yeah.
So the second item is we had Kilowatt Want come to us last month, and they presented, and we kind of left it open-ended a few months ago. The former administrator had been charged with going out to bid for an RFP for energy purchasing. However, in reviewing that and the presentation, there is not really, doesn't believe to be vendors that are providing opt-in for residents. It's more of if the town goes that direction, that their residents would have to opt out. Certainly, we can still go out for an RFP to see if there's someone out there that we don't know of, or, based on the presentation last month, if the council wanted to have, to go in that direction to see how that fails. I'm certainly not advocating for one over the other, just some, kind of guidance as we look at potentially having some sort of energy aggregation for our residents. And Kilowatt sent us some proposed next steps. They had presented to Westerly kind of the same next steps. And so without not wanting to answer it for you, I wanted to put this back on the agenda to see if councils had any more thought into what that would be in any future relationship with them, or an RFP, or whatever the council's preference is that. So this is kind of just a need for more information, or we could table it and say we're not ready, but council has some thought one way or the other. I just was hoping for that guidance.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Whatever. I saw Dan first, and we'll go to Mark.
I do. So I just want to clarify for the public and for the council. So community choice aggregation, which is the first presentation we heard probably a year ago now. That is kind of like, I don't know what the right word for it is. At least it's like state sponsored, it's state vetted. There are certain companies that are allowed to do business in Rhode Island with community choice aggregation, and it's through the municipality. Um, that's different than the presentation we received from Kilowatt, which is a private business entity that's looking for an endorsement from the town. Now, for full disclosure, I heard the presentation last week, and I'm a massive skeptic of someone who tells me something to be too good to be true. So I went ahead and I said, well, if residents are going to ask me about this, I want to at least be educated. So I went and I signed up. I'm not endorsing it, but I said, you know what? Let me go and try it. And at least I have the means to at least put myself at risk from a financial standpoint that I'm going to end up paying more for my energy. I'm okay with that. But I wanted to perform due diligence, say, if I sign up for the service, how does it actually operate? Because if a resident comes to me, I'm able to say, yeah, I did it and here's what happened, right? Because right now we don't really have that. So I want full disclosure with that. I signed up for it. I'll try it out. So at least I can speak to it. I think my main concern with the town doing anything with Kilowatt is that it's a private business. And the town doesn't endorse any other private business. And we're not going to endorse McDonald's or Starbucks, are we? If we open it up for one private entity, we're going to do it for all of them. So that's my concern. I feel like it sets a precedent. It's a slippery slope. I have an issue with the town hosting information from a private business as well. I don't think we have any precedents of that happening. If that's true, then I can be corrected, but I didn't see anything in our history. So that's my 2 cents. Just want to provide that to the council and the public.
Awesome, sir. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I mean, I think it's worth us looking into it further to see whether it does perform the way they say it performs. If we can at least provide information to our residents that could save them money on their energy bills, I think we should put it out there as an option. You know, so I don't really have a problem with that. This is a unique circumstance. This is not an optional service that people getting electricity is not an optional service, is what I'm saying. Everybody in town needs to get it somehow. And if we can at least give them an option to say, hey, listen, you might want to look into this. It's, we've done whatever we decide to do, but I think it's at least worth us investigating it further with Kilowatt, and kind of see where it goes from there. At the end, we may say, we don't want to take a position one way or the other, or we may say, hey, this is great. And so, but I think it's at least worth, starting down the road with them and see where it leads.
I did the same thing you did, Counselor Madnick, where I was like, if I'm going to endorse something, I want to be a part of it too. I'm not going to share my experience with it yet. I don't feel like I've gotten enough research to share it, but I did the same thing. I'm going to check this out. And I really liked the idea of establishing a committee so we could have more people check it out. And I definitely agree and understand, like, we don't typically endorse businesses. We don't typically do that. But to Reynolds' point, we don't have other options for electricity. So I'm really on the fence with it. I can really go either way. I would just want to really vet it. If we're going to put an endorsement behind it, I would want a committee of random residents to really help us vet the process. But I don't think I'm ready to make a choice on that today. Sure, go ahead, Counselor. Palmigano, I do know your name. I just am tired today.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think we can do that step one and investigate, because it would be great to juxtapose that against the state sponsored services that are available too. Because I think that would allow us to see apples to oranges or whatever, a private company versus a state sponsored, and really see where, if there is a value based on the service provided for the residents. So that committee piece would flesh that out.
I don't mind. I agree with what Mark said about offering it to people. I like it that it's opt-in too. It's not,
Mm.
you don't have to opt out. That's big. So, I just think we should get some more information on it. I do think the committee idea is probably a good one too.
Since we're going around, I'll devil's advocate this. Pillwant is one business. They don't have any competitors yet. What happens when another competitor says, hey, I offer the same service. Mine's gonna be even better. Do we have to do another committee? I mean, they're the first ones that enter into the segment with AI or some kind of automated process to get lower rates. Doesn't mean there aren't gonna be more.
Mhm.
I would not be surprised if there are more. I mean, that is our society, capitalism. Someone's gonna come back and say, hey, I've got a better idea. We're gonna have to go back, form another committee and say, all right, now we got this other entity and we have to go through that too. I mean, like I said, I signed up because it was new, said, you know what, I want to be informed on this. I'm not gonna tell someone to go do something if I haven't done it before. I mean, Aaron and I were emailing back and forth. I straight up told her, I'm passing no judgment. I'm a skeptic. Someone comes to me and says, I'm gonna give you something for less expensive and do it better than ever. I'm like, okay, why hasn't it been done before?
Mhm.
That's 2 cents.
Yeah, if it is an opt-in process and we're not endorsing it, then there's nothing wrong with us going through this process and making the public aware. There could be information, energy savings tab on our website. You know, residents could go there and decide that they want to go with Kilowatt. If someone else comes to us in 6 months and says we have another program, we could certainly investigate that and also share that information because it's opt-in, you know, and people can choose what's the best for them. Some may not even choose to do any of it. So competition is good, right? It's going to drive the prices down, hopefully, because energy prices are prohibitive for a lot of people.
I think I'm okay with that. We set a precedent that if there's other entities that are willing to help with utility prices, if we're going to host something, we open it to everyone. We have to be fair. I think when it comes to this, so we have to think smartly. But you're right, yeah. 6 months, new company comes around, do the same thing.
I'm sorry, just had one other thought. Are we aware if they've approached our neighboring communities like Charlestown, Hopkinton, and so on?
Just Westerly.
Just Westerly?
They've, you know, we can file, they presented to Westerly before we did, and they were gonna form a committee and see how it goes, and so we could follow that steps and information, but I know we kind of had that pending, and for me on my to-do list, RFP, and so if we were gonna head in a different direction, you know, certainly go to that direction, but you know, Westerly was the first they approached, so
I would assume they probably reached out to the others if they're doing that. They're
Probably-
probably trying.
I would say at this point.
Yeah, so I mean, the other thing that a committee could look at, I'm not sure if there's economies of scale for a collective approach. So that's another thing to
Yeah.
think about.
Yeah, and he did say they have at least one active municipal, no, I think it was a school department in Rhode Island. I can't remember which one.
It was Cranston.
There's another player.
So again, another source of feedback and information as far as what their experience has been with. And that's different because Cranston signed up to get their power through them, not, different than
Mm.
just offering it. But I think it still would be good information as to what their experience as a customer was.
So do we have like a motion for next steps? And anybody want to do anything tonight or I'm not prepared to, so I would make a motion to.
It seems that there's general consensus that it'd be worthwhile to form a committee of volunteers. So we need an ordinance drafted to do that, to then study alternative energy.
We need an ordinance to establish it.
We could do
do
a
it
resolution.
Ad hoc
Resolution. By resolution.
We do a resolution. Yeah, sorry, not necessarily an ordinance.
We do either,
Yeah.
depending how permanent we wanted it to be, because if there's new energy opportunities in the future, we'd already have the board established.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll make a motion to ask town staff to draft a resolution establishing a committee to investigate and vet program provided by Kilowatt. Consisting of at least 5 people.
I'll second it. Any other council questions?
And do we want to limit it for now, just the resolution just to kill one? Or do we want to open it up to other?
I'm not aware of any other.
I'm not either. Doesn't, I don't know, guess
There you
doesn't
go.
mean there isn't.
Well, that may be when we do, as we go through this,
Okay.
we may become aware, but right
Maybe-
now we're not. So
Maybe part of their charge is to see if there's competitors.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to be thoughtful if
Yeah.
we form this, this committee via resolution that we don't narrow ourselves just to looking at this one
Right.
company.
Did we give enough direction to form a resolution? You guys got any questions or to whatever the
Yeah, is
ordinance?
there any specifics of the 5 members? Does council want to be one of those members, or that would be the only?
I think there should be at least a kind of a liaison.
I mean, you
Whether
could revisit who that is after. but
Yeah.
This is the board meeting.
Probably somebody with experience.
Yeah, I think Dan knows a lot, don't you, Jeff?
I
Oh,
got,
so,
I got no issue with that. That's fine with me.
All right, 1 council member to be determined.
Yeah.
do we need a second?
I think we
Didn't you second it,
I
Sandy?
think we
you
did
did.
second it.
Okay.
Oh, we
Oh,
did.
Yeah.
Throw me up here.
That's a long
Any
time.
further council discussion? All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madden.
Yes.
O'Shannell.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Thank you.
Chief Johnson asked that we postpone his items to the next meeting, just because he couldn't be here this evening. So we'll go on to our water department report. And who do we have spearheading that?
And Bob is here from North. Our water operator with extensive update on the water system. However, based on the last few months and upgrades to the system, I am finding tonight's update as well as the last couple weeks with the water system to be very great. Really, a lot of improvements have been made. I want to thank the staff for log. I won't take too much of Bob's time, but some, for log is now underway and the startup was actually done yesterday, and this has been a long time coming. And I'll let Bob update us on the status of our water system and all the coming stuff.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Good to see you again. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure. Good evening. I prepared a memo, Erin. Does the council have copies?
They do, they got it.
Oh, great. Okay.
Several.
Yeah, the one dated the 6th, because we have a few.
Well, yeah,
right.
the one dated 6, and I provided some others that they're referred to in the memo, so.
Gotcha.
Good. We have a number of items to cover tonight, and the news overall is extremely positive. And very pleased to make their general statement, and then we'll get into the particulars. Before we get to the 4-log chlorination system, I'm going to go through some other stuff first, okay? Water storage tank improvements, these are associated with the level 2 inspection that actually Glenn Albee from my firm did last August, and that resulted in identifying a couple of minor defects on the elevated water storage tank, the Kingston Road tank, that had to get repaired. To sum it up, what we did is we had on September 9th, Aqueous Solutions came in, did an internal inspection of the tank. And that internal inspection gave us some very valuable information. By the way, they didn't find any problems relative to contaminant threats or any contamination issues in the tank. I'll come back to what else they discovered, and because when they did the inspection, they're taking video and photographs so we can see the interior of the tank. And on a related topic, that's very important. About a month later, USG, who had installed made some modifications to the tank prior year, they came back in and installed permanent repairs. They had to weld a couple of small patches on we're talking about little holes in a flanged connection on top of the tank. It wasn't actually in the body of the tank, so that it was at the top of the tank, well above the water line. So USG, which is the original contractor, came in on October 6th and 7th and did their work. We were present for all of this, not just observing, but providing support, making sure the system was chlorinated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that work is all done. All the documentation was submitted to the Department of Health. We're satisfied. any and all requirements there, so we can close the book on that. Related to that, on October 27th, the town and our office received the sanitary survey from the Department of Health. A minimum of once every 5 years, Department of Health does a sanitary survey of all community public water systems in the state, as well as a number of non-community public water systems. They came out with a list of deficiencies that they wanted corrected. Some we were aware of, and in fact, some we had actually reported to the town. We actually created a task force team. It included town staff. We had Chief Johnson on the team. Aaron, of course, was on the team. Gary Robar from Public Works was on the team, as well as quite a few people on my staff. And we went through all of the noted deficiencies. There was a schedule. What we did is we attacked them in sequential order. And as we got things accomplished, we were making submittals to the Department of Health, including appropriate documentation to demonstrate that the work was completed satisfactorily. There's a table in what I submitted tonight, the memo. There's fourth page is a table that gives the various items. Some are associated with storage tanks, and some are just other items. Okay. All the work has been completed except for two items. They're highlighted in yellow. One is updating the operation and maintenance manual. The Department of Health agreed with us that we would update that manual upon completion of the 4-log chlorination system, because those system modifications have to be included in the updated O&M manual. And we want to make sure that we were 100% accurate. So that manual will be updated. We'll complete the updates. That will be submitted on or before January 31st. And that, of course, is with department's acceptance of that date. They agreed to that. The other item is spill containment. This is in the pump house, because there were modifications for additional chemical storage in the pump house. We had to, it was really exceeding the available capacity of the original spill containment of the berm system that is in the pump house. What we finally concluded was the easiest way to do this was to turn the entire pump house into a spill containment structure. It was actually designed that way, except that there is on one side of the pump house, it's pitched to a slit trench and a collection sump. So we are having a berm put in. We did some calculations in the design, was pre-approved by the state, and Gary Robar and his team are doing that work, and that will again be completed on or before January 31st. So we will document those two items, submit them to the state, and I have every confidence that they will be approved. All other items were completed and approved. Just to give you some ideas, we made some security improvements, or we've designed some security improvements. That design was submitted as part of a larger design package to the Department of Health. There were things like some locks and gaskets and things like that. They've all been, we had to replace some locks. We had to, on both tanks, they have an overflow. The overflow's got a little flap valve on it. It's got a screen inside. We had to upgrade the existing screen, which we did. Wasn't a problem. It was relatively easy to do. We have an eye wash in the pump house, for example, and every time on almost every daily visit, Frank Williams does the majority of those visits. Some of you may know Frank, extremely competent. You may know him from Westerly. Frank tests that eye wash almost every time he goes in the pump house. They want us to maintain a log that, yes, on January 6th at 10 o'clock in the morning, we tested it and it worked. So yeah, we now have a log sheet there. So there's a lot of things like that. There was some vegetation cutback we had to get done. There was some fence repair because a tree came down on a piece of the fence surrounding the security fence surrounding the Kenyon Road stand. So all that work's been done, and certainly it's all been reviewed and approved by Department of Health, with the exception of those two items, which we'll be completing in the next couple of weeks.
Bob, if I could just interrupt 1 second, just to give a plug, DPW, Cody's here. The fence that the tree came down, the gate was all fabricated in-house by Public Works. Cody did a lot of that work, but that was at no additional cost to the town to vendor and bring that on. So Cody's here this evening, so
And-
make sure that that's recognized.
Thank you.
We're gonna come back to that cost, by the way, and some other costs for potential reimbursement, okay? And I do want to say this, in going through this effort, we created this task force team, and I mean this sincerely, working with Chief Johnson, working with Cody, working with Gary, they've been fantastic. I mean, and working with Erin too, Danielle here, everybody's been fantastic to work with. Great team, great people. I couldn't ask for a better client to work for. And I mean that sincerely, I'm not blowing smoke. I really do mean that.
We're your favorite client then?
Yes.
You're in the top
I'm
two.
sorry, it's a public meeting, so I won't make you say it out loud.
You're in the top two.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And
Out
we've
of two.
got a couple hundred clients, by the way. So in any event, so that's the second category of work. 4-log chlorination system. As I think folks might be aware, that contract was let roughly June of 2024. Original completion date was December of 24. We are in January of 26. Good news is, as of yesterday, we are completed and started up on the system. We received the, once the construction was substantially complete, we had the Department of Health inspection. They issued an approval letter roughly last week. I think it was right before Christmas, and maybe like a week and a half ago. And we went through the last steps, and the startup was officially completed yesterday. We are online with the 4-log chlorination. There's a couple of loose ends. We've got to sort out a few things with our friends at Verizon on the auto dialer system. We have to replace the injector ball valve on the sodium hydroxide injector, which is actually a different chemical feed system, but we have to pick that up. We're doing some other inspection work there. We'll take care of that. And we need the contractor's got to install a new raw water sample tank. And they will take care of that, but it didn't stop or prevent the startup of the system. So the good news is the 4-log chlorination system is online, and I think it's to the benefit of the town and the users of the system. So we can pretty much check that box off. We will provide a further update to the town when these last couple of punch list items are taken care of. Water storage tank mixing system. You may recall from when we met this in September, we had went through that. We had some major concerns. Supposedly, and by the way, we did a lot of research here, did a lot of investigation. The design drawings for the elevated water storage tank on Kingston Road that was designed and approved in 2015 and installed after that, and improvements to the Kenyon Road standpipe. Both those sets of design drawings show what we call tide flex mixing systems inside the tanks. Tide flex system, it's a vertical piping system. Water goes up it. It's got an angled section at the top with a duckbill on it, and water shoots out, and it's supposed to go in a helical arc. Okay, there's supposed to be one basically in the center of the elevated tank, and there was one of the design is showing it on the side wall of the standpipe tank. We have photographic evidence. It appears that it is installed in the standpipe tank. The inspection, the video inspections, when we did the tank inspections and cleaning, did not show that tide flex mixing system, but there are construction photographs, and this we had to go into the archives at Department of Health, and it is showing that tide flex mixing system was installed. Alternatively, on the elevated water storage tank, we actually, when we had the inspection done previously by Aqueous Solutions, the internal inspection, we've got video and photographic evidence. We actually have pictures of the riser pipe where that tide flex mixing system is supposed to be and is not there. Okay, now, was it installed and later broke and fell off? We don't know, but it's not there and has never been identified in the inspections of the tanks. Okay, and we've had 2 inspections of that tank done, 2 video inspections of that tank. So we have divers in that tank. Okay, and they did not see any debris looking like a tide flex mixing system on the floor of the elevated tank. In any event, That's as far as what was designed and what was or was not installed. That's the evidence we have. We did that investigation. We have designed mechanical mixing systems for those tanks. We feel very strongly, and we think the design evaluations back it up, that even with those tide flex systems, that you weren't going to get adequate mixing. Why do you want mixing in a storage tank? Want mixing because if in a storage tank, if it doesn't have mixing, sufficient mixing, you get thermal stratification in the tank. You get density stratification. That promotes bacterial growth and proliferation. And if you have a chlorination system, that can accelerate the forming disinfection byproducts, chemical reactions that create disinfection. We don't want bacterial contamination, as we all know, and we don't want disinfection byproducts. We have designed mechanical mixing systems. Those systems have I'll call it a pumping rate of 5,000 gallons a minute. They're actually very modest little devices that go in tanks. There's one in each tank. That gives us a 1 hour turnover time in the standpipe tank, and I'll call it a 2 hour turnaround time or turnover time in the elevating tank. It's actually a little under 2 hours. It doesn't mean you have to run 24/7, but it means we can have them on a timer running. We can turn those tanks over several times a day to prevent stratification from occurring. That design was completed and submitted to Department of Health in December. So it's under review now with an application for approval. With that, we also included improvements to the SCADA system, and we included the security improvements that we reviewed with Chief Johnson and with Gary and Department of Public Works folks also. So that's all in. I will address this further when we get to how you pay for this stuff. We get to that. That'll be the last section on our discussion. But that is the status update on the tank mixing systems. Investigation completed, engineering evaluation done, engineering design completed, everything submitted, under review and approval by Department of Health. We'll keep you posted on that, and I will do our best to encourage the Department of Health to review it as aggressively as they can. We'd like that to be a 2026 project. Future capital improvements. We had some discussion back in September. Over the last few years, provided a couple of memos with recommended near-term capital projects. We also were advised the town that we had to get into some long-term planning and engineering evaluations of the system. It's going to be necessary. Reason is because your system is 40 years old. Okay? You've had an excellent system, high quality equipment. It was well constructed, well designed, well constructed. Okay. But it's 40 years old. Okay. And the pump house is showing wear and tear. There's also some vandalism. It's showing a lot of wear and tear, but that's not surprising. Okay. The good news is you're still getting overall good function out of the system. But for example, you have one primary pump, and then you've got what we call the emergency pump. The primary pump has lost some capacity. If you look at what they call the effective capacity, we've had some degradation of that effective yield or effective capacity. It's still giving us good capacity, but it's not what it was, say, 40 years ago, which is not surprising. Okay, if very few sand and gravel well pumps, overburden pumps, wells maintain their sustained yield from their original development going out 20, 30, 40 years. The rate of degradation is very site specific, well specific. Okay, you're getting good service, but the well needs to be inspected and quite possibly redeveloped, for example. So we identified a series of capital projects, SCADA system improvements, a budget of 8,000 to 10,000 on that. That design has been submitted to Department of Health. Pump house security and access improvements. We said 15,000, but going with what Chief Johnson wants, and I think it's a very good idea, including the storage tanks. That budget's larger in all likelihood, but the minimum at the pump house we think is about 15. That's been submitted to Department of Health. We were recommending some what we call emergency response equipment, a budget of about $4,000. There is some mechanical component and piping corrosion in the pump house. The town has approved some repairs and replacement of some of that piping, the smaller diameter piping that will be done this month. In fact, it might be starting. It's either starting at the end of this week or next week, as a matter of fact. It's only a few days worth. There's some other pump house repairs and improvements we've recommended, about $35,000 budget. The regulating valve that's on the primary distribution main that lead from the pump in the pump house. That valve, we're on a wing and a prayer with that valve now, okay, and it has been for a while. We're holding it together. It needs to be replaced. It's a 40-year-old valve, so we're about 3 to 5 generations down the road and what it should be replaced. That's about a $35,000 piece of work. We did get quotes for that work last year, and rounding up slightly, it's about $35,000. Tank mixing systems, as we said before, that design has been completed, submitted to the Department of Health. We laid out a budget of, we recommended a clean water infrastructure replacement plan. We think we should have one done. It should be done every 5 years. And a long-term planning evaluation. The capital improvements that can be consolidated into one or more projects for Rhode Island and to be funded through the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. Now, there's some other programs out there. It's like, USDA Rural Water, for example, which can have combination of grant and also. We tend to focus initially on the infrastructure bank. The reason we do is because as a community system, you automatically qualify for, on a given project, for $100,000 of principal forgiveness. So if you have $100,000 of work, $1,000 of work done with $100,000 of principal forgiveness. You have a $200,000 project, you have $100,000 of principal forgiveness. You finance the other $100,000. Their typical loans are 20 years at about below market interest rate. It's usually about 3/4 of a point below market. You can do multiple projects, so you can be qualified for principal forgiveness on a project by project basis. So we are looking at phasing a lot of these projects. Also, town was contacted by Representative Magaziner's office, and they have a program called the Water Resources Development Act. We believe that the town this is a potentially outstanding opportunity to get funding for projects in the town. But I think we should think a little bigger. I have provided a draft letter that one of our engineers, Steve Combe, had prepared. I plan to edit that letter quite a bit. I want to add more things to it. Probably move a few things around. But the point is that we think we should, at the minimum, the town should be responding to this inquiry from Representative Magaziner's office, and because obviously, if there's an opportunity to get included in this program, which would be a grant, we want to take advantage of that. Okay, so we're going to do that, and that's where we're looking at the big picture. We can project out within reason. We're going to need some potentially significant improvements to the pump house, the well, et cetera, and that's a project that is, significantly exceeding $100,000. So let's take advantage of this opportunity. Now, there's one other thing. This just came in last night, so this is almost breaking news. I forwarded the email to Erin. 3 years ago, I made an inquiry of the Department of Health. They said, listen, is the town of Richmond eligible for participation in the Department of Health's Facility Improvement Plan program, which is basically an engineering evaluation program of your water system? And by extension, are they potentially eligible for the Engineering Assistance Program, which is design engineering services of improvements to your public works? The response at that time was no, and I know that there was an earlier inquiry before I had involvement where the answer was no. I'm a persistent kind of guy. So about a couple of weeks ago, after Erin asked if I would attend this meeting, I said, fine, I'll be glad to attend, give everybody the update. I said, I could be a pest, let me ask him again. Only I phrased it a little differently. And I said, this is an enterprise zone system. They're basically supporting themselves on the revenue from the connected users. They're not necessarily supporting themselves. The system isn't being funded necessarily by, you know, the overall town revenue and your tax revenue and budget. And I said, so please look into this a little more and give me your thoughts. And an email back from Amy Parmenter, the administrative manager, the drinking water section. And her basic question was, when are you meeting with the town? I said, January 6th. So she's, okay, we'll get back to you. They got back to us last night, and after they did a review and details still to be filled in, it was a favorable response that they believe that the town can be eligible for inclusion in the facility improvement plan program and the engineering assistance program. They do want what they call applications, PPL applications, project priority list applications. Those are easy to do. We do them routinely for clients. What this means is that we can do engineering evaluations and you can do engineering designs for the approved projects. 100%, the engineering work is 100% paid for by the funding program run through Department of Health. It's federal. It's actually federal funding, but it's through Department of Health. So we will have to sit down with them, provide them some additional information on the system, confirm the number of connected users. I think we told them 300 or 306. It's one or the other. And also what the basic funding mechanism is for the system. But I don't think we're going to have. I'm about 98% confident that the town will be eligible for that. So that's very positive news. It just happens that Northeast Water Solutions has both those contracts with Health. So we don't have to educate anybody else or reinvent the wheel here. By the way, we've had the facility improvement plan contract since 2011. We've had the engineering assistance contract since 2017. And we've gone through numerous, several rebids and renewals. So we have the confidence of the Department of Health. So what we want to do, and I want to move pretty aggressively on this, unless you tell me no, we want to put together the appropriate application process. We want to facilitate the appropriate, providing the appropriate information and have whatever level of meeting we have to have. Probably can be a video conference type meeting, whether it's with Aaron, Danielle, whoever we have to have in there. But I want to move as aggressively as we can because I think it's really important that we be able to take a very thorough look at your system and identify, looking out at a 5, 10, 20-year window, where we think you need to go with improvements, lay out budgets for this, and then in a phase of lay out the whole program so that and then the town can move forward with confidence. And there's funding out there right now, and we want to take advantage of it. The faster we move on this, the better off we're going to be. What's worth in the early 2020s, there was a number of, as I'm sure you're all aware, spending bills coming out of Washington, D.C. And a lot of them were 5-year funding programs. Okay, and we're 4 years into a lot of those 5-year funding programs. So if there's an opportunity to take to access funding in the 5th year funding, which is coming down in the fall, we want to take advantage of that. Okay, if we do this right, we'll be positioned for that. Now, to come back to, I mentioned earlier, reimbursement. It's important the town keep accurate records of whatever money you're spending for some of these improvements that say Department of Public Works has made, because it may not be a huge amount of money, but it's money that is potentially eligible for reimbursement. We can include it in one or another of these capital budgets, and because it's being done by town resources, okay, as opposed to say going out and hiring a contractor. Being done by town resources, that should maintain your eligibility, because if you're going to go out and use, say, outside contractors, you have to go through a public bidding process, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But by being done by, say, the Department of Public Works folks, even if it's $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever, they fixed a louver, they fixed an exterior light, they're looking at doing some concrete work. they had to rebuild a portion of the fence. We want to make sure we have good documentation of what those costs were.
Yeah.
And we want to include them in a capital budget request. Okay, and with a request for reimbursement because the town expended the funds. So we're trying to do everything we can to identify projects, that we need, get projects approved, and get the funding in place, and minimize the cost burden to the town. Those are our goals. That's what we're trying to do. That's my summation. And I'll do my best to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much. I get Councilor Paul here.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And I was trying to do the back of the napkin kind of math on some of the projects, just, so with all the projects that are outlined, understanding that you mentioned the one with, Chief Johnson, it might be a little bit more. It looked like the projects were adding up to about $260,000 roughly. 100,000 would come off from the infrastructure. That's 160,000. We don't know what the Magaziner piece is. Also, I think when you talked about the engineering cost coverage, you identify the planning and engineering in here, which totals about 75,000. Is there engineering costs also baked into each of the projects, or is that pretty much the 75,000?
Engineering fees are included in those project budgets I'm giving you. There's engineering fees, to the degree that
Yeah.
engineering in those.
Sure.
So, but the planning project there, the long-term planning evaluation, that's basically that facility improvement plan.
So would that be covered by the Department of Health? Those two, that 75,000?
The clean water infrastructure replacement plan isn't, but that can be an outcome of the engineering evaluation / facility improvement plan.
Right.
We'll do that first. Okay, the cost for that that's covered by your eligibility for inclusion in the Department of Health's facility improvement plan program.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to get some clarity as far as, for the public, what the dollar amount is. So it's somewhere between 160 to 100,000, give or take, what gets cut off. And we don't know what the Magaziner piece is. That could help too.
Yeah, but what I would recommend here is that I think what we should do is, we've got one project in right now to the department. It's the mixing systems with some SCADA improvements and security improvements. That's a project. I want to go back in with another project. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And we'll call that for the next year of funding. Okay.
Okay.
That's how I want to do this. Okay. Now you have to execute a discrete loan for each of these projects, but each project can come with $100,000 of principal forgiveness.
And thank you. And I just had a follow-up question, and maybe this is Danielle, saying you're living and dying in water bill land right now. Is that cost that is incurred for this, is it on the users of the water system only, or is it amortized across the town?
Which cost? But
Any cost improvements for the system?
yeah, it's an enterprise account, so it should come out of the water only.
It's on that system.
Yeah.
But what we're proposing is hopefully loan forgiveness with each program piece. So we're not gonna hit
Sure. Yeah.
taxpayers.
Yeah, I mean, they are
Right.
part of the taxpayer base. I'm just,
Correct.
to save them money is great too, but I'm just wondering how that's going to be. The only third question I had is, like, I'm not sure if this is something you're covering. This water line obviously also serves the fire service. The end of the line is over here with the last hydrant. There was a question of, and I'm going to use the wrong terminology, pressure drop along the system. Have you encountered any problems with pressure drop? And do you have also a pumping station? Is that part of this plan too?
One, we haven't identified a specific pressure drop. We have gotten a couple of notifications that people are concerned about pressure drop. One of the things we're doing is having Frank monitor pressures in the system at various points at different points in time. We want, as part of the facility improvement plan, the state calls it the facility improvement plan program. I call it the engineering evaluation and facility improvement plan, because you have to have an evaluation done before you can do the plan. Okay. What I want to do is, we have a hydraulic model of the system. I want to run that model and then compare it to actual field monitoring results. Okay. Which we're probably then, what we'll do is we're going to do some hydrant tests in a couple of different locales to see what the issue is. I can tell you about a year ago, we had discussions with town staff, by the way, included number of people, some of them are no longer with the town, but, you know, in the room. And there was discussion that there were concerns that the way development was going in the town, we might need a booster pumping station.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we want to take a look at.
Mhm.
Do we think, you know, we want to look at what the development pattern is, we want to look at where the likely development parcels are. To say, listen, do we think we should start looking at that now? Because we have a very effective hydraulic model of the system, we can run, you know, desktop simulations and then validate it with running hydrant tests and things like that.
So you're doing that projections of increased density further on the line that way and how it's
Yeah.
going to impact here.
Right.
Good, all right.
That's what we want to assess. That's part of what we want to assess.
Okay, yeah, because there's obviously a significant cost to a new pumping station and that would be,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. all right, I just want to make sure that you've got it on the radar.
It's this isn't, you know, some 2-week effort here to get this done.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
thank you.
relatively
Thank you for
substantial.
entertaining the questions.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
I just want to clarify one thing, because I think Jim's back of the napkin math was off based upon what you said about
You did your best.
being able to kind of bundle projects separately, and each project or project bundle is subject to a separate $100,000 forgiveness. So you can submit the projects in such a way that you would get principal forgiveness for all of them.
Well, theoretically, you could do that, but let me clarify. You can't submit 3 projects this year and say, I want 100,000 principal forgiveness on each one. But what you can do is say, okay, here's our 2026 project. Here's our 2027 project. Oh, here's our 2028 project.
So it's $100,000 annually.
They don't say it's annually, but effectively, that's kind of how it works out to some degree, okay? So at that point, it's okay, now we got to prioritize.
Mhm.
And that's what we're doing. That's why the mixing system and the SCADA and the security went in first.
What's SCADA?
Oh,
The communication protocol?
it's
30 seconds or less, what's SCADA?
Communication.
it's communications. It's
Okay,
remote- and
that's all you need to say.
it's communications.
Talking between the different
protocol.
ones.
But good clarification, that makes a lot more sense that we could prioritize those projects so that you're parsing out, that's helpful, thank you.
Just to thank you to everybody that did a lot in a little amount of time. It's been a couple of months, so thank you to everybody that was involved. But so as we go through all this, how can we make sure that what happened before doesn't happen again going forward as we fix things? So is there going to be inspections that the 5-year inspection is going to be done in 5 years, and all these inspections that need to be done are going to get done in time?
All right, one of the things that happens is that, I mean, obviously, something like, you know, having a storm and a tree falling on a fence, you know, it's gonna happen, okay? You know,
Act of God, yeah.
I can't prevent that from happening. But what we do a lot of things on preventative maintenance, for example. We exercise valves. The truth of the matter is, prior to our being involved, valves haven't been getting exercised in the community. Now, there was reasons for it. The problem is you don't exercise valves, you're gonna have problems down the road. So we immediately initiated a flushing program and a valve exercising program, as an example. Other things though, such as we have to make certain capital improvements, and we have to maintain equipment. Okay. Also, we have to maintain the best maintenance logs we can. We have to have very good preventative maintenance schedules and execute. It's great to have a plan, but you got to execute the plan.
So when you say we, who do you mean?
Well, we're certified operators. We're also effectively your engineers for the system.
That's going to be you guys.
So as long as we're under contract
Yeah.
to the town of Richmond,
Yeah.
we'll be doing that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So-
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just put it bluntly, NWSI, I mean, I'm not an expert, but it seems to me, based on all the information you presented, that our previous operator wasn't doing their job. NWSI is cleaning up their mess. We have opportunities in front of us that we haven't had before. There's funds available to upgrade our system and essentially future-proof it. I mean, as an engineering background, I'm listening to this and I say, all right, why haven't we had this before? Well, because the previous operator didn't do it. So now we're going to get it done. We have the opportunity to have subject matter expert do it, who has all the credentials to do it. And I look at it as Richmond getting an opportunity we haven't had before. We need to take advantage of it. And I mean, I think a lot of times people, and I don't think anyone in this room, but I think general population takes our water for granted, how good our water is in this country, especially in this area compared to other places. We have a water system that we found out lately doesn't have PFAS. I mean, that's
Right.
huge, right? We've got a lot of issues right now with breweries and other places, restaurants trying to use water that's got PFAS and they can't. Well, we're looking really hard at economic development, commercial industrial development, especially into housing. And we've got a water system that is way over capacity for what we need for right now. And I think it makes sense to be proactive, invest, and future-proof this thing so that we can keep operating as intended and make sure that we have enough capacity for future infill development in our state designated growth area. So basically, whatever he wants to do in these memos, I'm all for it. I mean, it looks great to me, and I just listened to him all night about this. They say,
If I may offer a comment. We don't wildly stumble forward willy-nilly. Part of our job is to keep the town properly informed, and the town is the ultimate decision maker in anything we do. Nothing goes into Department of Health without the town's approval. No decision is made as far as what project prioritizations. We'll give you our recommendations, we'll give you our reasons why. Hopefully you agree, but everything has to be done in close coordination and with the authorization of the town. I will just say this to you, okay, and this has been my philosophy for I've now been in business, actually it will be 41 years now that I think about it. I was gonna say 40 years. You're our client. We owe it to you to do our best every day. We're not perfect. No, nobody's perfect. People make mistakes once in a while. Somebody stubs their toe. Our job is to take responsibility, do the best job we can, provide the best service for the town, and do what's in the best interest of the community. When we came on board, we were advised this is an enterprise system. We have to live within the financial means of the connected users. Figure out how to make it work. Okay, that's what I was told. Figure out how to make it work. Okay, you need money, we'll go out and find your money. Okay, we'll find project. There's plenty of we don't lack for projects to do. We've got to figure out what's the best, most cost-effective way to do them, and where's the money coming from. Okay, so that's our job. That's what we're doing. Okay, we'll do it with transparency, and I've been in front of you. When there's been a problem, I said, hey, we got a problem. This is how we're dealing with it. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a recommended fix. Let's get it done and move on. I will say this, and what Mr. Madnick just said is very, very true, very accurate. Richmond, your water system was built because you had contamination in some areas of this town that was identified back in, let's say, the early 1980s, late 70s, early 80s. That's why this system was constructed. But you've got something that a lot of other people don't have. You have an extremely high quality water supply. And that actually puts you, to the degree you want to do it in an effective, properly regulated and controlled way, you have the opportunity to have enhanced economic and commercial and residential development in the community. Now, you don't want to have out of control development. Okay, we all agree on that, I think. But done right, you've got an asset that a lot of other towns don't have. Everybody's got water in the ground. The problem is a lot of that water is contaminated. I mean, I spent a lot of my time up in Burrville, North Smithfield. Okay, and I keep having it. I've found some high quality water in some uncontaminated aquifers, but it's tough. I got more contaminated areas than I have uncontaminated areas up there. It's really it's tough. So you've got a very valuable asset. We want to help you further define the asset and further figure out how to optimize it and maximize it. Then that puts you in a position, this town in a position to go forward. I'll be sitting on a beach, okay? Somebody will send me a text, hey Bob, we got another development here. Fantastic. Thank you very much. I said, great, all right.
Maybe we'll bottle our water and send it to you too,
Oh,
for a
yeah.
nice treat on that beach.
Anytime.
But I do appreciate all the information you get and the transparency you're giving to the residents, because a lot of people, especially those on the water line, want to know what's happening and want to update. So next steps, I guess, would be for us to get that list of priorities and funding and the updated letter to Rep Magaziner to approve and
Yeah,
send in.
we're working on that. I provided,
Yeah,
that's why it's a
sure.
draft on it. I don't want to, I still got to work that
Yeah.
letter and massage it a fair amount, but I want you to get a sense of where we're going with it.
Yeah.
And then we'll lay it out.
Sure.
We want to move forward on multiple funding tracks and, see how much of it can come to fruition. There's a lot that can be done here, so we want to take advantage of that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
We
We
need,
have a quick question from Bob, other Bob. Mr. Sayer.
Right here, because I didn't want to go to. No, I didn't, now I am.
You just
Not that far.
can't hold back.
No, I just have a question.
Sure.
Bob Sayer, Richmond. I'm not on the water system, but I have friends in town and businesses that, if I drink a cup of coffee, I want to know that water's good. My question is, in the extensive investigation, my biggest thing is, there was a pipe in the middle of that big tower, and there was nothing on that pipe as far as a mixing valve. The submariners went in there and didn't find anything. If it's a plastic system, then they should have found debris in the bottom of that thing. So that tells me that there was never a system put in the beginning. Did the investigation show that that the town paid for that system and it wasn't put in? And if so, who did it, or who's responsible? And secondly, is there a way to go after them if it showed that they put the thing in and then they didn't put the thing in? It costs a lot of money to the town and everything else. Is there any way to go after them legally? And I want to thank Bob for, this guy's, he knows it all, I'm telling you.
Right. Yeah, thank you.
Very good
Is that
presentation.
something you answer, or should we have
Sure,
Brad
I'll
back up?
Bob elaborate, but through the investigation and the tank mixers applications, Bob went back to the Department of Health. And I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, the only reference to the system was in a report and not necessarily engineered plans or any site. We didn't find any documentation that there was an investment in it, just a reference to it. And so that was never found. Is that a correct summation, Bob? To the tank mixers.
Yeah, I'll respond to that.
Okay.
What we were able to find was, no, actually, there was two sets of design documents. One was for the elevated water storage tank. That did show the design of what I'll refer to as the Tide Flex mixing system. You have the riser pipe going up the top of the pipe, then you then have the Tide Flex system, okay, there. And I believe it was, the pipe is steel, but part of the Tide Flex system is non-metallic. Now, there was also design drawings of subsequent, this is a couple of years later, improvements to the standpipe tank, okay, on Old Kenny Road. Within the Department of Health files, there were construction photographs of the standpipe tank, so we could see that the Tide Flex mixing system in the standpipe tank was installed by the contractor making those improvements, because there's photographs of it. We haven't found any construction documentation of the interior of the elevated water storage tank. Additionally, we've now done 2 internal inspections. And on the second one in particular, we told Aqueous Solutions, go looking for this. I'm looking for this Tide Flex system. Go see if it's there. So they specifically took video and photograph of the top of the riser pipe, which just comes to an end and it's just there. There's nothing, there's no extension of it. The Tide Flex system isn't sitting on top of it. And they did not identify any debris down in the lower depth of the elevated tank. So we haven't seen any construction documentation to date, and we would have to see photographic documentation. We haven't seen any, haven't identified any yet. And we have no current, based on current inspections, we haven't seen that. So I can't tell you, A, if it was included in the scope of the construction work for the tank, or B, if it was included, if it was ever built or not. All I can tell you is it's not there now, is all I can tell you.
Thank you so much for answering that question. Councilman Madden?
Yeah, just to respond to Mr. Sayer and Mr. Ferrari as well. So at our last meeting, when we discussed this, one of the requests that the council made was to our water operator, our interim town administrator, and our solicitor to actually investigate if there's breach of contract by the previous contractor. And I believe the information we got and what has been summarized again tonight is that we haven't found any evidence that there was any breach of contract. So there's unfortunately no one to go after because there's no evidence that we were supposed to have one and it wasn't put in.
Thank you so much. All right, so seeing no other hands, there's no action needed here. We'll go on to our next item, new business. The request from Councilor Madnick. Right.
Question, did
Yeah.
we need, how's prioritization gonna be done? Do we
So-
need to?
We'll come back when Bob's has a new drafted.
Right.
We had advanced authorization a few months ago to go in with the projects we already have in front of Department of Health. The tank mixer, so that's done. So the next phase will come back with that
Okay,
budget priority
great. Thank you.
authorization.
Yeah. Go ahead, Councilor Madnick, with your new business.
Sure, and this is the exact same request that we had a little bit over a year ago. We invited both our state representative and our state senator to the council to discuss what their present policy goals for the legislative session were and to see how they could work with us and we could work with them. One of the tenets of this, when majority of us ran for our seats here was that we would have better communication with all levels of government. I think in the last year, we've done a much better job of that, as you can see, especially with the memo here from Seth Magaziner's office. I think it's important that we have good communication at every level of government and make sure that our residents and constituents are able to speak with everyone. So again, the request is as simple as let's invite Representative Cotter and our Senator Morgan to the council to come meet with us, talk with us about what their legislative priorities are and how they can help us and how we can help them, and also the best way to communicate with them effectively. I will state that last year, Representative Cotter did come. Unfortunately, multiple attempts to speak with and communicate with Senator Morgan were unanswered. I'm hoping that this year we can get both of them here and to speak with us and at least have a better relationship and more communication.
Is that a motion to ask our town administrator to send that communication out?
Yes, a motion to request our town administrator to invite our state representative and state senator to a town council meeting at their convenience.
Second.
Thank you. Any council discussion? Real quick, I'll also say in addition to this, I also appreciate that if and when there's ever something that Rep. Cotter wants to bring to our attention, she's not shy about speaking up in public forum and letting us know what she needs. Or communicating with us. So I think it's great that we have both this regular kind of meeting, but also check-ins occasionally. Any further discussion? We'll go for a vote. Councilor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Can I have a motion? Oh, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I did not see the person online, but we'll give them the opportunity. Thank you for flagging me down, Kendra.
You should have permissions.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Mr. Day, you should have permissions.
I just heard something very faint.
Presentation. Can you hear me?
Kind of.
A little bit.
I wanted to, I had a question, while the gentleman was making his presentation about the water situation here in Richmond.
All right, we can definitely field your question. I apologize, we didn't see your hand raised online earlier.
Well, I was wondering, is he the director of the water department? Because according to the town charter, you have a water department and it's administrated by a director. So I'm trying to find out who that director is. I have no problem. I'm on the water system. I've been on here from the get-go. I have, and this is a major improvement, probably 2,000% or more than the previous company you had. But I asked a question around, and charter specifically says that the Recreation Department, the Highway Department, and the EMA will all be administrative director along with the water board. So I'm trying to find out who the director of the water board is. And nobody seems to give me, maybe give me an answer on that. So if you don't have a director, then who's running the show?
I believe Erin has an answer for that. She was nodding along, so I'll let her explain.
So Mr. Day, when we went to a water operator, our water operator is in fact our water director for the town of Richmond, and Mr. Ferrari of Northeast Water would be in fact our water
So
director.
council is okay with that, because I don't know how you can designate a company as your director unless you have the president of the company as a director. I'm not a lawyer. You got more lawyers there than I will ever meet in my lifetime probably, but I just you know, the way things are today, people will sue for anything. So I'm just concerned that, you know, we have some committee members up there that, you know, are worried about everything, but this is something that I don't really think you should worry about, but I think that if you can change the charter to say otherwise, but if it says director, then I think you might. And, you know, like I said, you got more lawyers there than I'll ever meet probably. But if they think it's all right, then go with it. That's my concern. Thank you for listening to me, and have a good evening.
Thank you. You as well. All right. Now on to the communications, petitions, proclamations, and resolutions from other cities and towns.
Motion to file
Oh.
communication.
There you go.
Oh.
Wonderful.
I would just
Yes,
like, I gotta get back to where I was, sorry. I would just like to pull. The resolution from the town of Hopkinton to refer to the chief of police to see whether that's an issue that we should be addressing in Richmond. I don't know if it is or it isn't, but I thought it was worth referring it to him to review.
All right. Can we do that in communications, refer it to him? Yeah, thank you. So we'll do a motion to file
Motion to
with
file.
the reference of, what was it,
A,
two?
B, and. Oh,
Motion to file with the Hopkinton resolution referred to Chief Johnson.
Second.
All right, we'll for roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Tom
yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, make a motion to enter executive session pursuant to RIGL 42465A1, discussion of job performance.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Erin, I don't send the notice, so I just want to confirm that the notice was sent. Thank you. Well, for a roll call vote, Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Tom
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, so now our mics are live. We are back. Is
Live.
everyone ready?
Dan, it's because the natural gas goes up in the winter.
Is Dan ready?
Is Dan ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, can we please have a motion to exit executive session?
So moved?
Second?
All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. We have a motion to seal the minutes of the executive session.
So moved?
Second?
Go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. There were 2 votes made in executive session. First was to go past 9 o'clock, made by myself, seconded by Counselor Palmigano. That was, everyone voted yes, except Counselor Reynolds. The second motion was a motion to relieve regular attendance at the zoning meeting for our zoning clerk, but will attend as needed, compensated at her hourly rate. That was made by Counselor Reynolds, seconded by Madnick, and it was unanimous. All right, we've dotted our i's and crossed our t's. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to second.
Motion second. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Good.
Very good.